Hello, it's us, the weirdos. We're here tonight. Well, we had a guest cancel on us, so we're having some fun, doing our thing. Anybody want to join? They
There's a
could
link
join us.
shared.
The
Yeah.
link's right there.
Yeah, it's been shared.
Come on in and have some fun. Maybe bring a little excitement to our world.
And I'm gonna have
What's
to mute the.
wrong?
I had to get it through the headset, otherwise you're gonna
Oh,
have an echo.
otherwise I'm gonna have echo, echo, echo. Sorry for the yawning.
I
For
think I got
some
it.
reason, I'm tired.
I can't hear you. What the fuck?
Okay, I said sorry for the yawning. For some reason, I'm tired. Okay, here's an interesting question I kind of thought of. Do you think that maybe funeral homes are haunted? Are you there? Wow. I guess I lost Joe now.
I can't hear you at all.
Are you sure it's not on my end? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay, I got it.
No? No?
It was muted on my end, and I didn't realize it.
That's your problem, not mine. No, I was saying, just kind of a thought.
I thought,
Do you think maybe funeral homes are haunted?
oh, I bet they would be. Some of them, good share of them, probably.
Why would you think that?
Well, isn't that where they do most of the the? No, I don't know. They probably are.
Well, funeral homes they do some do cremations.
That's what I'm saying. If some of them have those facilities, you know,
Hmm.
capabilities, those are probably the more likely ones that I would imagine.
But you don't really ever have anybody that dies there.
No,
The
but what if
body's already the body is already brought there after they're dead.
I don't know. You never know. I mean, I'm sure there's a few of them out there.
Hmm, it's a possibility.
Where they were built, you know,
Yeah.
considering it doesn't actually have to have anything happen inside the building, considering it can just be the land that it's built on.
Mm,
Right? Makes sense?
yeah. Yeah. That could be. Could very well be. But it was just just kind of a thought.
Yeah. Add something here.
So, do you got anything that you've been pondering?
Oh,
Hello.
no, but that does make sense, if you think about it, think about some of that stuff. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been pondering a lot lately. I mean, I got pretty upset because we got, 2 guests cancel on us, and one was like a first time deal through something, and, yeah, I'm not sure if that's gonna work out too well. The other one
Well,
was
we'll have to see.
the other one's gonna be rescheduled for sure, though, because
Well, that could have been, the whole thing about it. It could have been,
I don't know.
it,
We'll
it could have
find
been
out.
legit. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying it is. You know, it's just saying.
We'll find it out. We'll find out. I mean, I tried to contact and to get information to do the promo, and that's the answer I got. And so, and then it just two of them in one day, but the other one I know will reschedule. They just got the opportunity to do something big,
Well, yeah.
and I don't blame them. And we've already had them on once, anyways, and
Hmm.
I've already filled their spot.
Well, I'm just saying on that one, that particular one, definitely because that's
Well,
you
that was
know
also like,
I understand that happening.
well, that was
I mean,
like a week
I
notice.
wouldn't give.
So I mean, easy to, but when you get like a 24-hour notice, man, that bites.
I know.
Yeah,
24-hour notices suck whenever that's all you get
I
when
mean, we
you're
got
already scheduled for over a week.
like, one, yeah, a little over a week and a half notice for the other one.
Hmm.
You know, that's okay. They'll be rescheduled. But I just, I'm getting tired of the cancellations at the last minute. We got here. Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi, everybody.
Marianne. Right?
Yes, sir.
Where are you from?
Brookfield, Illinois.
You're just south of us then.
Yeah, well, originally Taylor Street.
Taylor Street.
Yeah, I'm Italian.
Nothing wrong with Italians. Look at that goofball sitting right there.
See?
Right, man. So what brings you up here? Got an interesting story to tell us?
No, I'm listening tonight. You
Just
guys tell.
listening.
Yeah, well, for now, yeah.
Well, normally we
Ah,
have a guest, we talk paranormal, and we have
Oh,
hosts.
I've been on here before, yeah.
Well, you've been on here watching us before. Huh?
It's you guys and Dale. That's who I hang out on.
okay.
You know Dale, right?
Yes, Dale Kazmarek.
Right.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
known him like 20 years.
yeah. We finally got to meet him in person, and
Good.
we did
Right.
2 investigations with him. The
That's nice.
first one was in July. We went over to Iowa and did an investigation at the Buddy Holly crash with him, and then from there
Wow.
went to Farrar School and did an investigation there. And
Well, he's a really nice man.
oh, he's awesome. He is
And
Oh
then
yeah.
absolutely awesome.
we
Yes.
invited him to come to Bray Road with us.
Yep. And then he came up to Wisconsin here and went over to Bray Road with us and did an investigation there, an overnight.
Nice. Nice. I want to go on all of them.
They're
Every one of them. I
fun.
can't. Of course
Doing
they're fun.
investigations is fun.
Yeah, I bet they are. Quiet tonight, huh?
A little bit,
You know why?
unfortunately.
Everybody's eating dinner probably. I'm cooking now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
That's
It's about the only time that I've got free. I work during the day and
Yeah.
then I come home and sometimes I got to rush to get home on time.
Sure. Well, yeah. That's us people that do too many jobs.
I only do one.
I deal with a couple, but I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, it keeps me busy.
Yep.
oh, oh wow.
Uh-oh. We lose her?
Yep, I think so.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Marianne.
So what do you think?
I try not to think. It keeps me out of trouble.
Uh, what's the what's probably one of the top of your list places you'd want to go that's close by?
That's close by?
You know, within a, you know,
At least this,
day's
at
trip.
least driving.
Yeah, driving
Uh,
distance.
honestly, I want to go to Gettysburg, and
Yeah,
I'm sure that would be something that we could get to in one day.
I lost you guys for a minute. I'm back.
Hey, she's
Yeah.
back.
Ah, you know why? I have long nails and I keep poking at the phone. So you
Gotta
guys
watch
go on
out that.
tours too?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you guys go on tours as well?
no.
We haven't done any tours yet. We just go to places that we can find that we can investigate.
Okay.
We haven't
Let
really.
me know when you do. I got to
Uh,
get in touch with Dale to see what he's up to too.
I mean, one of the tours we do want to take is, well, Mark didn't get to see the place, but I did. Was Shaker's Bar here in Milwaukee.
Oh,
Uh, it's a very old bar that's got a lot of paranormal history and just outright history to it.
so interesting.
It used to be a speakeasy back in the 20s during Prohibition.
Really? Well, hey, maybe you got some of those leftover people hanging around too.
And then there was a brothel on the third floor.
Wow.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Huh.
And
Where's that at?
in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Not far,
So
not that far from me.
we were down there to watch a premiere of a movie that was released and as part of the paranormal conference. And
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
local shoot. Shoot. The producer and director, I guess, was from the local area around
yeah,
there.
mm,
it was actually there was an actual production company in Milwaukee
oh,
that's been around for years that did this.
wow. Hmm.
And
Interesting. Very nice.
it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a documentary, and it was kind of a comedy, kind of
Yeah,
what I would call kind of like a paranormal comedy.
really.
Yeah.
I like scary.
So I was hoping it was going to be more of a documentary because it was titled "The Lake Michigan Monster," but it was
Oh,
still,
wow.
it just wasn't what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah. Sometimes that's a disappointment when, go in a different route.
Yeah, well, it was, but at the same time, it was kind of enjoyable because it was funny,
Yeah.
and I do like a good laugh,
Uh,
and being and it gave us a chance to kinda get a look at Shaker's Bar
yeah. See, now
and
you went to nice
talk
places to
to the
see.
owner, and we got a private tour of the 3rd floor
Oh,
for the
was it
property.
haunted?
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
The story was that the head mistress was murdered there, and they found the bones in the cement step on the porch or the cement slab that was
Huh.
outside the door on the 3rd floor, and
Yeah.
they found her bones, her remains, and they turned them over to the cops, and it became a
Yeah.
crime scene for a while, and then they did their analysis and realized, "Oh, this is like, from 75 years ago, come get your bones."
Yeah,
And
really.
so the owner come get your bones, it's, an old
And
case
where was this at?
in Milwaukee, right here in
In
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Okay.
Now,
Now,
like
was the body there when you were there? No.
no, 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 he buried the bones somewhere on the property, but they did do an X-ray, ground penetrating X-ray in the basement and found skeleton, more bones, human bones
Wow.
buried in the basement cement.
Wow.
They didn't disturb. They didn't disturb that, so they're still there.
Really?
Yes,
They left it there then, huh?
yes,
Huh.
yes. They just left it alone
Sometimes
because,
you're better off, I think.
well, they figured it all probably happened because if you know anything about the mob history, that was one way
I
they like
do.
to get rid of people was burying
Yeah.
them in cement.
Yep. Oh, I know very well. I'm Sicilian.
and this was one of those places where Al Capone and Dillinger and a few of these
Hmm.
other mobsters and gangsters kinda hung out back in the day.
Wow. Yeah,
Got a lot of rich history.
they were quite a group. They really were. My mom used to tell me about the neighborhood she grew up with, in rather, and she said they saw Capone all the time in the alleys. And I says, "Oh my God, didn't you run?" But I wasn't
No.
born yet, so
See, the thing is, if you see, you see Al Capone walking around the neighborhood, the thing about
yeah,
those gangsters back then, they were generous to their neighborhoods,
I
you
know.
know? It
I
was the
heard.
rival gangs and the rival families before they came together and made because during Al Capone's time, they were it wasn't organized quite as well yet as it
Yeah,
was by the '70s, the '60s and the '70s,
right, right.
families running it out of New York, you know?
Yes. Well, there's still some in Chicago, to my knowledge, according to my family, and still New York. And then, of course, they're still in Sicily.
Oh, they're gonna be around forever.
They're around, yeah. Yep. But I can't imagine. Well, like I said, I wasn't born yet when my mother was running around outside. Can you imagine going in your backyard and there's Al Capone running past your fence? Oh God.
Turn a Tommy
Yeah.
gun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't even respect him as an Italian, so forget that. He
But
did too many naughty things.
well, they all did, but a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
them did take care of the neighborhoods that they lived in,
Yes.
helped out the families that lived there,
Yes.
stuff like that, because most of those neighborhoods were primarily all Italians,
Yep.
you know?
Now I came from the Chicago Avenue area, which you can't drive around there now, not really. But there were times that I was really little, and you would see one of Al Capone's guys, but not himself, bring a basket, like a bushel of fruit and stuff to my grandpa. And I thought, gosh, is that man around? I want to see him. Little did I know he was a murderer. But, interesting things went on in the neighborhoods because we were all Italian there.
Mhm.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but they always took care of their people.
Yes, they did. They certainly did. So I can't say what grandpa was hooked up with. I don't know. They wouldn't tell me anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. Yeah,
No.
they had I did a lot of research around here. I was also part when they did what do you call, like, a little memorial thing. They
Yeah.
did a statue and dedicated it to the old neighborhood, which was called the Greenbush neighborhood
Where?
in Madison, Wisconsin. It was
Oh,
called
okay.
the Greenbush neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was primarily mostly Italians
Uh-huh.
that lived in this neighborhood and worked in this neighborhood. So,
Did you grow up there?
mm, by the time I was born, the neighborhood was pretty much gone.
Okay. Yeah,
It was gobbled up by
I know.
whatever
Yes,
because
I understand. That's what happened in my neighborhood. Solid Italian and some Polish and whatever. And then I'm gonna say the year before I moved out, it was shot. It was horrible. So much so that the neighbors next to me saw I was alone with a baby and they were very kind to me, two sisters. Didn't matter if they were yellow, purple, green, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, but they took down this what they call my daughter a little loaf of white bread. They were really sweet because I was scared, you know. But now it's gone. You can't go there anymore. Not safely. I'm
Yeah.
surprised we still got downtown standing up. I really am.
I didn't like driving through Chicago back when I used to drive cab,
Yeah.
and that was like 15 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's changed a lot from where I lived. And we still take a ride by the lake because that's where I hung out as a kid and blah, blah, blah. And you like to see these things, but sometimes it's dangerous. You can't go.
It's just too bad some of those neighborhoods aren't like that anymore because, my grandpa, God rest his soul, my grandpa used
Hmm.
to tell me stories of the Greenbush neighborhood, and
Yeah.
growing up, I was so fascinated with my heritage that I had to do research on that
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Where was that? Where
um,
was your neighborhood?
it was in Madison. It was on kind of like the south side of Madison. It took up what was called South Park Street,
Okay.
uh, Regent Street, and West Washington Avenue. It made a triangle.
Okay. Yeah, your area had activity going. So did mine. Because
So,
you've heard of the Chicago mess, right?
right. Well, they didn't have so much as activity as it sounded like something you would want to grow up in, where people would look out for, they could go down to the local store, get
Yep.
food on credit and stuff like this, but
Yep.
they could leave their kids at home and the neighbors would watch them. The houses
Absolutely.
would be their houses would be unlocked. They didn't have to worry about
Nope.
locking their
Never.
houses because
Never.
the neighbors always kept an eye on everything.
Oh yeah.
And
All the
so forth.
neighbors knew us kids.
Right.
When you'd pass the porch, like if I was walking to the avenue by my friends, I'm a kid, young teen or 12 or whatever. They'd call me an Italian because that's how I grew up. They'd call me to their porch and to share their sandwich or to have this a piece of fruit or blah. And that's how I lived. And it was the most beautiful way. It was wonderful. Little by little, we got squeezed out. What are you going to do?
And see, those neighborhoods don't exist anymore.
I know. Even
You
Taylor Street's shot
you
now.
you don't even have I don't think you have a real I don't think if you go I haven't been in Madison much in the past 6 years.
Okay.
I haven't been back. But I don't think you could even find a real deli that's not in, like a meat market deli
Yeah. No,
anymore, that's
they're
not
gone.
in, like, a supermarket,
Yes,
you know?
I know. I used to be taken by my grandpa for a walk, little kid, to the butcher, to this, to that. You can't do that anymore. It's
No,
not there anymore.
no,
But it was a beautiful childhood, I'll tell you that.
I mean, I remember going to the butcher store. Actually, one of our cousins owned it. It was like Namio's Meat Market. Stood right on
Yeah.
East Washington Avenue, and the smell you would get from all the spices and stuff that were in the place was just
Yes.
amazing, you know?
Same with
And then that
bakeries. You could smell the bread coming a mile away.
right, right,
It was
and
a
they got rid
beautiful
of
time to grow up. I'm grateful for that.
I only got a little bits and pieces of it.
Well, my wedding came fine, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Our Lady of the Angels Parish. Big
No,
fire years ago.
was that
How
in
old are you, if I may ask? I think you're younger
Well,
than me.
when he was born, dinosaurs were still around.
Yeah.
keep dreaming.
Mm.
I'm 54.
Well, Chicago's not what it used to be. Not at all. Mm-mm. But at least we had our time in there.
I didn't like any time that I spent in that town.
Really. Where
Yeah,
were
but
you? Where were you in Chicago? You talking about?
yeah, I only traveled there a few times, but the first time I ever traveled there, I must have went through the worst parts of Chicago.
Probably. You're
And
yeah.
my friend's dad was like considered back then the air conditioning heating king of Chicago. He had stores all over the place, but we were head to his main shop where he would
Okay. Would he
And
would be, yeah.
we got down to this one intersection, and all of a sudden, this car comes racing through. I was at a red light. The car
Uh,
comes racing through, goes
oh,
up over the curb, and rams a guy right into the wall.
oh my gosh.
And it's like, okay, I didn't see nothing. Let's just keep moving, you know?
Yeah, no, right. You're better
Yeah.
off, you
Um,
know.
I wasn't even driving my car that day. I was driving my friend's car because he had lost his license and it was Monty.
Oh boy. You sound
So
like my group.
it had a better, it had better air conditioning, and it was middle of summer that year.
Yeah.
That was
But
the first
see,
time I was down there, and it's like, never again.
no, I went with a girlfriend of mine maybe about 6 months ago, and I told her, please just pass my house, and that area was the Chicago Avenue area, and then the side streets where the houses were. And she said, okay. She didn't know how bad. So we went past Humboldt Park, which is shot. Don't go there. And then we went past my house about 10 minutes away, and it looked like a ghost town because they were probably all at work or something, the people, you know. So I don't know, but the house looked in good shape. I was surprised because I've been out of there for a long time. And I cried, of course, you know. But my school looked lousy. My high school looked lousy. Better off not going.
That's
But there
sometimes
was a there
bad.
was a lot of family people there, mafia, a lot of it. But they never bothered the children or nothing.
There wasn't a lot of that around Madison when I was growing up. I mean, I only saw them myself personally once. I was working for one of my cousins at his nightclub,
Okay.
and it was the shortest job I ever had because I hit one of his employees and I walked off and I quit.
Oh,
And
okay.
I couldn't even tell him that he was at a Perry Como concert at Coliseum.
Yeah. You see, my
And
dad,
but
God rest his soul. Go
I
ahead.
was walking by that place at like 3 o'clock in the morning when
Why?
supper club should close the supper club should be closed at 10 o'clock usually.
Yeah.
But I was walking by at 3 o'clock in the morning because I had just gotten off work at Taco Bell down the road.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was walking home, and there was like 2, 3 limousines sitting there in the parking lot, and guys
Uh-oh.
standing there wearing sunglasses outside,
Mm-hmm.
standing there, kind of standing guard next to the limos.
Well,
Like they were waiting for people, and obviously there was somebody in the supper club, dinner club, but it's
sure.
like, wow, I'm kind of glad I'm not working there anymore.
Yeah, really. But I tell you what, when you saw, like I saw in the neighborhood, car parked here and car parked there, you know, we knew who they were. I was just a kid. But you hear that in your family because we were all, my grandparents were there and they're from Italy, and you hear it in the house,
Oh
and that's
yeah,
all I was warned. Somebody says hello to you, you wave and just keep on your way. Don't
if
run,
people are
don't
teaching you that
nothing.
language,
Otherwise, she'd tell me, Grandpa's going to come out with the rifle and shoot them all down. He had a rifle in the house. So see, I thought it was an easy childhood, but apparently they didn't. I don't know. I loved the neighborhood. I had a blast. They were all Italian.
well, growing up Italian was fun. I
You
loved
bet.
it. It was the best part of my childhood. Some of the things I experienced,
Yeah.
but you know, you would know something was up because my grandfather and my uncle Steve and my uncle Sam and these guys, all of a sudden, they didn't want you to hear a conversation or
Yes,
know
I
what
know.
they were talking about. They started talking in
Yeah.
their native tongue
This
because
is what I'd hear.
my
They would talk.
grandfather was
Yeah,
born in Italy.
yeah, mine too.
So,
Sicily.
so my dad was the first of the family born in the United States. So he
My
was the
dad
first
too.
generation, and then I was the second generation.
Yeah, my dad too. So yeah, both sides of my family, dad and mother, everybody was Sicilian. Everybody was from the old country. And then as they moved out here, the rest of us were here, like my cousins and all that. So
And
that's
then on
just the way, like life was just that way. I just took it like everybody lived that way, but they didn't, you know.
oh,
But it's too bad because I don't know about you, and it sounds like you did too. I had a blast growing up there. It was so much fun, so
I
safe.
well,
Yeah.
there was 3 houses. Actually, it was 4 houses, and they made a triangle not too far from where the Greenbush neighborhood used to be, and
Yeah, I've heard of that.
left
Yeah.
that was what was left of my family's properties.
Okay.
So my grandfather lived there, his brother lived next door. Um, I think it was a sister that was next door to that. No, it was
Mm-hmm.
behind them, in the house behind them.
Yep.
And it was like a cousin or something in the
Sure.
last house. So it was all family. So at
Us too.
Christmas time, I would go to my grandma's house on Christmas time, and oh my God, you get
Everybody's
around her
there.
house, you get around her house this time of year, she was already baking Gucci daddies and
Yes, good daddy, fresh bread, and just
oh
everything. Me
yeah.
too. You're Italian then.
And then she was doing all this baking and stuff, and then by
Uh huh.
Christmas time, all the families would have their little get together and their little meals, and after everybody was done
Yeah.
eating their meals at those homes, they would all gather at one big house in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. We all did the same. You're Italian then, right?
mhm.
See, we all grew up that same way, which was a beautiful way. Aren't you happy we've got that background to think about?
Yep, yep. It was fun. It was,
Yes.
my grandpa
It,
Joe was an awesome, awesome man, you know.
uh, hey, did your grandpa make homemade wine? Mine did.
Yeah, they had actually had grapes growing in the backyard, and
Yes,
I would get yelled at by my grandma.
because
She
you're
would yell
eating
at
them.
me because I was eating them right off the
That's
vine.
right. See, we had a little farm in Frankfort, Illinois. We'd go there, and Grandpa had corn there and the grapes, for the wine and all that. And you could smell it through the house, but he'd do it in the basement. And
Yeah,
I got a little sip because I was a kid, and that was the end of that. Nobody boozed it up. It was done with dinner.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the
My
smell of
grandpa
that, oh,
had a garden in the backyard. His house, and it was in the middle of the city, pretty much,
mm,
right across from a great big cemetery,
uh,
and it had a huge, huge garden in the backyard, and there was
uh,
like 4 or 5 fences going up and down in rows that was nothing but grapes, and
wow.
grape vines growing off of them, and I
Yeah,
would
our
hide
yard wasn't.
in the middle of those grapevines eating them until grandma would come down and check.
Yell at you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she takes me out of there and just like, "Oh, he's not hurting them."
Yeah, I know. Well, to shut me up in the front yard, Grandpa put up a fig tree. Not huge, but not a baby. He must have got it from a neighbor. You know how they did. And he'd say, okay, that you could eat those, but not the ones in the backyard. Okay, well, that kept me happy. But
Mm,
I mean, we had everything. That's how I felt. Like we had everything. And then we had a farm, in Frankfurt, and he grew all kinds of stuff there and brought it home.
yeah.
What a nice life we had. How about it?
Well, she grandpa didn't mind me eating the grapes. It was grandma because she used to take the grapes and make, do the
Yeah.
desserts, jelly.
Yes. Sure.
That was her thing.
Yeah.
But I grew up knowing her when she was like a den mother at the university campus, but
Really?
she was also a bakery. She did wedding cakes and stuff.
No. See, I kind of followed everybody and I love to bake. I love to have
And
fresh
she did a lot of
sauce.
that baking, but when it wasn't around Christmas time and in the summer, she was baking a lot of wedding cakes for
Oh,
people,
yeah. Yeah.
decorating. Yeah,
Yeah. Boy, were we lucky. How about it?
interesting trait that I learned from my grandma.
Yeah. Yeah, we had little things in the backyard and the big stuff at the farm. It was nice to have a farm because it was like a little farmhouse. Because we only stayed there for like the weekend and got all the vegetables and stuff that Grandpa was growing there and corn and cob. And then we go home to Chicago, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Well, they didn't have a farm. Actually, it was like my grandma's sister owned a farm.
Oh, okay.
So they go out there to get like fresh corn and extra
Yeah,
whatever they needed because she pretty much they had tomatoes, cucumbers,
yeah,
onions,
us
pretty much
too.
everything else growing in the backyard.
Yeah, us too.
And with the
And
grape.
I thought everybody lived that way. I was in an Italian neighborhood. Everybody was Italian at that time. You can't go there now. Um, I thought the
No
whole,
such thing
well,
in Madison anymore.
yeah, no, but I was little, like you were. I thought the whole world was like that. I didn't know till I got a rude awakening. You know, I thought the whole world was like that. So, but I was a kid. I got married and got the hell out of the neighborhood. Pardon my language.
Well, see, I don't even
That's
live anywhere near Madison anymore. I'm about an
uh,
hour away from where I used to live.
yeah. Oh, I can't. You can't go there now. Like my girlfriend, I'm surprised she even drove me through there. But it was work hours and it was pretty empty out there. You know. But I'm done. It's too dangerous. Mm-mm. And to think we'd lay in our beds with the window wide open, sleeping all night in the summer. Uh huh. Can't do that no more. But at least we had it, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it was a lot different back then around this area.
Oh, very different. Very different. You know. Anyway, I hate to cut you short, but I have to finish dinner downstairs. And it was a very big pleasure talking to you.
Oh, enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great
Thanks for
night.
popping in.
Thank you.
Oh, oh,
Okay, did she forget to log out?
I think so.
Can you pop? No, I was gonna say. Hmm. There you go. You get to talk about your heritage.
Yeah,
I'm not Italian, so I didn't get to. I didn't
yeah.
get to eat any
Well,
of that.
it's something that you'd have to experience,
Hmm.
to understand. When obviously my grandma, because of her last name, she wasn't. She was Irish, but because of grandpa, everything was had the Italian tradition with it, especially Christmas. Christmas was a very, very big deal. Um, and to explain to people that don't know what a Gucci daddy is, it's a cookie, okay, and it's got minced meat in it, okay, and frosting on the top. It's kind of like minced meat wrapped
Hmm.
in cookie dough with a frosting on top. I'm not fond of, but she made all kinds of things. I mean, it was all about the food and the family. Not so much gifts as it was the food and the family. But as a kid growing up, you wanted the gifts too. But you know, it was all
Yeah.
about the family. But aunts, Uncle Steve and Aunt Vera, and they'd have their family over there eating next door, and so on and so forth. But after everybody was done eating, they'd show up at my grandpa's house, and then that house would be packed, you know, with people. So it was just amazing. And then some of them talking in that language, but it was the smell at Christmas time was different because you had all that marinara sauce and, because you had spaghetti. You didn't have your traditional Christmas dinners. Okay.
Right.
She made things like those those meatballs that I've made. Okay. Um, then she'd make things like the those cookies, those Krumkaka cookies. Okay. And sometimes they would be stuffed with her homemade jams and jellies or preserves would be in there with powdered sugar over the top of them. And then she'd have, all kinds of different desserts, homemade fudge, and then you'd have like spaghetti, you'd have lasagna, you'd have homemade ravioli, and sometimes she'd even do pizza, homemade pizza, you know. But it was always Italian dishes, lots of bread, um, lots of wine, all kinds of stuff. It was just, you know, one of those things. So you'd have all those Italian marinara smells going on at Christmas time, you know, in her kitchen. But it was just all about the food. It was, I mean, they'd have this great big, huge. I don't even think they make these tables that big anymore. I don't know where they got it, but it was a great big, huge table that was in the basement. They'd bring it out, and that thing would be lined with food. It was like a great big, huge, massive buffet table, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And because when she'd make pizzas, it'd be like 4, 5, 6, and she'd have 7 or 8 of them up there ready just to pop in. But they were all homemade from scratch. You know, and when grandma did that, even the noodles were made from scratch. Spaghetti noodles, the ravioli noodles, it was all made from scratch. So it was just one of those amazing things. But anyway, back on the paranormal subject of things,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking before she popped in, you know, um, one of the top places on your bucket list was, and you said Gettysburg.
Oh, I'd love to go to Gettysburg. I mean, we're close enough.
It's got a lot of activity that it's been on there, that one battleground area where the cannons are and stuff, and they always see that full body apparition right behind
Mm-hmm.
the cannons, like it's in a loop, you know.
And you can hear some gunfire in the
Yeah,
battle and
people are
cannon
playing possum.
fire and stuff like that.
Yeah, and our good friend Dale and mentor has been down there a few times or more, and yeah, it sounds like an amazing place. But then I also that one that I wanna I got I I'd like to get to a prison once, like an old abandoned prison. And the one that's fascinated me the most is that one that Miranda Young's talked about, where she spent the night in the solitary
Mm-hmm.
confinement room. I think she wasn't the first one that talked about that prison, but every time I hear about a prison, they intrigue me about the activity that could possibly go on in there. I mean, the one that would have
Yeah.
been at the top of my list, unfortunately, you know, would never be a possibility anymore because it's sinking.
Right. Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. Oh, yeah. I mean, just think of the atrocities that probably went on there,
Oh,
you know,
I'm sure.
you know, and not just between the prisoners, but the guards mistreating some of the prisoners,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And, there was many deaths there. They died there. They put them to death there because the death penalty was in effect still while that prison was out there, you know, in full force. I mean, investigating that whole island would probably take a long time because it wouldn't just be the prison, because they had like prison guard houses and housing and stuff on that island for people that worked there, you know. I mean, if you look at that place, it's massive. It's not just the prison. There's other buildings around it. But that would have been cool just to have the ability to go there once. But too bad. We would have had a thought about this many years ago. It's been closed for quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been closed for a few years.
But there's one in like Michigan and there's one in like Tennessee, I think, that gets talked about a lot on our show.
Mm-hmm.
And either one of those would be cool. You know, one of them was like somebody talked about one that was like um like a cylinder, like a circle. You know, big circle, like a tower.
Yeah. There was one of them that I think Miranda and Dr. Christy Sumner was talking about. It has this circular doorway thing you gotta step in to get into the cells or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I mean, we've heard so many different stories about those things that man, it'd be cool just to investigate one once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not so sure about that. Anyway,
I'm not so sure about what.
somebody say to us that Sanatorium Hill got turned into a haunted house thing?
Not that I'm aware of.
I heard that recently. I can't remember who I heard that from. But either way, that's not possible because that building's still, you know, a state office building or county office building or something. It was, you know, our chances is if it ever gets abandoned, we might be able to get in there through a real estate company, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to get into the basement of that place.
That's the only fucking place I want to get into is the basement of it.
You know, I mean, I remember being in that building before, and you know, I spent many hours in that building with Lena back after Deborah was born, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you always got a weird, eerie feeling about that building when you were inside it. You know,
Yeah.
it it kind of looked like it used to be a school, you know, the way it was set up. But I didn't know that it was actually a hospital, a TB hospital, until after we started doing what we were doing. And I remember, you know, it had like blue tile floor, you know, weird. Yeah, yeah, it looked like a hospital, but it had many rooms. So that's why I thought maybe it was classrooms, you know. But now that we found out it was a hospital, that
Mm-hmm.
explains all the tile that was all over the place. You know, the tile floors and the tile walls, and you know, inside. But I never got into the basement. I've been on like the first floor, the second floor, and the third, but I was never in the basement.
What of that place? You've actually been in there?
Yes, I've actually been in there.
Fuck you! I hate you now.
It, back in when Deborah was born, which would have been around 86.
Yeah.
Okay. That place was open to the public because it was actually the Department of Social Services, and workforce development and the job center were also in there at the time. All that stuff that used to be that's down on Aberg used to be up in that building.
Yeah.
So depending on where you had to go, even like applying for Section 8 and stuff, I think was in there at the time too on one of those floors. There was all kinds of different departments and stuff in there, public office buildings. It was a public office building. Parking lot would be crowded on any given day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been in there. I know what it looks like inside, or what it
Yeah.
used to look like back in the '80s, late '80s. You know. Oh, my mom used to take us there in the '70s too. You know, but
But yeah, I mean, I honestly would love to get into the basement. I don't care about any of the other
I've
place.
never been in the basement. But that's where those stories that we heard, and I heard firsthand. But unfortunately, she wouldn't go on camera. She wouldn't let me record it. You
Yeah, I
know,
know your cousin.
but but you know, she told me that they were down there and they saw this and they saw that move and this move down there, and it was a really old wheelchair, and what do they call that? A gurney, the thing where you lay down
Yeah.
on. Yeah, and one of those really old ones, in this like, and I'm assuming it was one of those, because they're blocked off now, but I'm assuming it was one of those alleyways that went up out to the pool outside in the back.
Yeah. Could have been.
Because she said it was in a dead end alley. There was nothing down there, nothing supposed to be down there. And they moved, because they were standing at the one end, the entrance to that alley, looking, whatever, smoking a cigarette or whatever they were doing.
Hmm.
And they saw that shit move down there.
Well, I actually did talk to a phone repair guy that's been in
Right.
that basement,
See, I've never been in the basement. I just heard a
and
story about the
he
basement.
said whenever you go in, he's like when you go in the building, it's normal.
Right.
He's been to all the different floors too, like you have. He says all normal, nothing big.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a schoolhouse, but now,
But
when we
here's
found
what
out
he
it was a
said.
hospital, it makes sense.
Here's what he said though about when he went into the basement because that's where all the junction boxes are for the phones.
Mhm.
He had to go down there to check. He said as soon as you step over that threshold, there's the ominousness of something eerie down there. He said it just like it's like walking into a haunted house in a
Now,
way.
why would you think that might be? I got a theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a theory.
What's your theory?
Why the basement? Because it's probably where the morgue was,
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that.
the place, until somebody could come pick up the bodies. They were probably stored down there somewheres.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking, all right, how old that was, and the time that was during the TB outbreak when there was no cure or anything for it. A lot of people died,
Yeah.
you know. So they'd have to put them somewhere, you know. And if they died on the premises and then they were kept there, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just guessing, you know. That basement, the tunnels were sealed because we do know the tunnels are sealed because otherwise you'd be able
Hmm.
to get into there, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
there may be 1 or 2 tunnels that'll get to those other buildings that are on the premises that are still being used, but
Maybe.
tunnels that went to the pools or to the outside or, whatever, those are gone, blocked off. I mean, there's maps on the premises. I like that, how they put that though when we were there and we went to that one place and when you first came up, there's a
Hmm.
plaque like thing and shows you the map of what it used to look like, and you know pointed out all the different buildings, where they used to be and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. And then they got a lot of those. What was it? That cemetery behind that church was kind of like really old.
Yeah, there's 1800s. I think there was even a one from the 1700s up there, wasn't there?
Yeah, and a lot of them were children. We noticed. Remember, we were talking about that. A lot of those that we were looking at, it seemed to be children. They didn't, 10, 12, 13, 14, some
Hmm.
younger.
There was a 5 graves that had all kids, same family,
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty sad, but
and I bet you that was part of that tuberculosis
I
outbreak,
don't know. All I know
or
is
another one.
I do know that growing up there, growing up around that neighborhood, like a lot of the neighborhoods I grew up in, because we moved around a lot, but I spent a lot of time over in that neighborhood for one
Hmm.
particular reason, because my uncle had a big pool in the backyard, hmm, you know, so I spent a lot of time on that side of town. But we used to take shortcuts through those woods behind the Sanatorium Hill there, and it wasn't really that spooky, when as a kid, and I never really noticed that there was a cemetery over there, ever, you know,
Hmm.
until we started doing our research on that place, you know. I mean, I guess I never really paid attention or looked that way when I pulled in there and when I was, going there with Lena and when it was a, public service building, you know. It's amazing what you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent a lot of time. That place is, what that place is the most famous for?
What's that?
The hill.
Yeah, sledding.
Mhm. Mhm. And I'm guessing somebody went out on Northport Drive one too many times, and that's why they got the fence at the bottom now. Because that fence never used to be there when I was a kid. But with that building being old and the other one over there being really old, I'd still like to get a hold of that guy too if he ever answers me. His name was the same as yours, Mark, from from Central Colony over there, Mendota.
Yeah, that dude that was. We need to get in touch with him again.
I've been trying. All I got is an email address. So I wish I would have kept this phone number. I keep better records now than I was then. So
Yeah.
anyway, but that's one place we should get back to next year. Just to see and check it out, and maybe see if what our chances are of maybe getting in there. You know,
Yeah.
because it would be cool as hell.
Yes, it would.
I mean, I know that was the first place we debunked somebody else's video at too, which was kind of fun. But that just goes to prove a point. When you're doing the paranormal, and especially if you're doing something outdoors, know the environment, know the neighborhood, know the area pretty well. Do your research,
Hmm.
you know, before assuming something, you know, because what somebody claimed to be an apparition walking across the hill down towards Northport Drive was just a person,
Yeah.
and we proved it. You know,
Pretty much.
and well, I said that when we were sitting here watching it too, because it's like I said, know your area, know
Yeah.
the environment, know know the wildlife. You know, I mean, I should talk because I should have known damn well walking back there in them woods, deer would be bedding down because the marsh wasn't too far away. You know, what happens? I damn near stepped on a deer. It jumped up and yeah, you get the picture.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I know.
but
I
anyway,
was there. That
but
was
knowing
funny.
that when we were sitting there watching that dude's video, knowing that, you're sitting there, yeah, that's just somebody walking to PDQ because it was the only store open 24/7 in that neighborhood. You know,
Hmm.
so if you're gonna walk, sometimes you're gonna take a shortcut and cut a lot off the distance. And that's exactly what they were doing. I'd done the same thing. You know, but yeah, I love it when some people jump to conclusions like that. But then, videos like that, you know, some people need to call them out. You know. So what do you think of the? This is gonna change the topic quick before we end here. What do you think of that? History of the World Part 2 finally coming out, but in a TV series on Hulu.
It took a hell of a long time.
Yeah, Mel Brooks is 90 something years old, and he's still going to be behind it all. Don't know how much of the acting he's going to do, but it sounds like he's going to be doing most of the writing of the ideas. And then they're going to tease for a part 3.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it took a long time.
Yeah, it did. It did. Considering this movie a great classic, because I have it on VHS. I haven't found it on DVD yet. Um, 1981 when it was released on VHS.
Hmm.
But I think the movie's actually older than that. You know,
Yeah.
movies were out before VHS was discovered and beta was discovered. So I think it was actually a 1970 something movie, considering all the top stars that were in there at the time.
Well,
You
it
know,
should tell you when it was made.
well, all it says is 1981 on here. Maybe that's when it was made. But still, it's pretty
Hmm.
old. It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
It's a cult classic movie that had a lot of stars in it. You know, I couldn't believe some of this. Tanya was like, never seen this before, and was like reading off a bunch of the stars, and she was like, "Oh, really?" You know, Maud, that woman that played Maud, B. Arthur,
Hmm.
she couldn't believe she was in here. Yeah, unemployment person, bullshit artist, eh? She was the one that did the unemployment office. You're a bullshit artist. He said I'm a stand-up philosopher. Gregory Hines was in there. All those people. I mean, it was amazing. Madeline Kahn. But anyway, next Friday, we can end this. Next Friday, we have Ray Jackson, who was watching our show when we had Sophia on talking. Okay.
Hmm.
And he wanted to come on and tell some of his Bigfoot experiences that
Yeah.
he's been having. And he's from the Mauston area, which is further
Yeah.
north
I know where it's at.
from us. Yeah. So that's Friday, this Friday evening. That ought to be interesting to hear his stories. I haven't been up in that area in a long, long time. But I know where it is. It's up there. So, till next Friday, or this Friday coming up, stay safe. Remember, anything's possible.